Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Central Michigan Stacker. Glad you could join me today. I've got a few interesting things to show you here. I've been going to a couple of my local coin stores within the past 2 to 3 weeks, and I picked up some really nice pre-33 gold. And what I mean by pre-33 gold, for an example, is this 1926 $2.50 gold Indian. Now, our government pulled off one of the biggest heists this country's ever seen. Through an executive order, you were told by the government to hand in all your gold. You'd be paid for your gold. They didn't give any reasons why it was going on. Well, actually, they may have given a few phony reasons. However, it was one of the biggest gold grabs ever known in United States history, and it was through an executive order by our government. And executive orders are not laws. They do not have to be followed like a law. It is no more than a piece of paper that came off the president's desk that he went ahead and signed because he had a wild hair up his ass and decided, I'm going to do this, and here I'm writing it down on a paper, I'm going to sign it, now everybody's going to do it. Kind of like Biden tried to do with his, everybody get the shot executive order, which, if you don't know, then maybe you went out and got it, maybe you didn't, I don't know. I mean, I ended up with COVID a couple times. I never received any shots. I always went by the fact that I had a strong immune system, so I was never really too worried about, the disease. And I believe, through immunity and catching it twice, that I shouldn't have much to worry about, from here on out as far as COVID-19 is concerned. But what I want to talk to you today about is the pre-33 gold. What's making it more and more valuable, it seems like, and the more people that catch on to it, is the fact that a lot of it was supposed to be turned in, like I said, through an executive order from the United States government, from the president. But a lot of people didn't turn it in. They decided to say, hell no, you're not getting my gold. The United States government has screwed over so many people, so many cultures, so many different scenarios and situations that people, were wise to the fact that the government was after their gold, and they hid it. They either hid it, they kept it somewhere, they shipped it off to a different country, but they managed to hang on to it. And so we see it, more and more out there in the world today. But the problem is this pre-33 gold has quite a premium on it. Because everything that didn't get smelted down or lost or hidden and forgotten about and never seen again has a costly premium on it. It's not, you're not going to buy this stuff at the same rate that you would buy, we'll say, this piece right here. And, this is an old piece of gold. It's an old piece of foreign gold from France. $1877, 20 francs. Beautiful, beautiful coin. But you can get this piece of gold right here for so much less than you're going to buy even that raw, $2.50 Indian that I just showed you. And then you get into things like this, which is a 1927 $2.50 gold Indian, MS62, graded by PCGS in one of their earlier slabs that they came out with when the company first opened. And this little beauty here has just got some awesome color to it. I picked it out of about 7 or 8 that it was Gold Brokers. It was in Waterford. He had 7 or 8 of them there, and this one really, I mean, it really stood out. Look at that detail and that beauty. I love the color of this coin. But I'm finding myself fascinated more and more diving into this pre-33 gold for the simple facts of, there's less and less of it out there. The more and more that gets gobbled up by people wanting to put it in their stack, the less you're going to see. It just becomes scarce. It's like anything else that there's only so much of. I mean, when it gets bought up by the population and they're able to procure it into their safes or bank vault or whatever it may be, these things don't get seen again. I mean, they stay in people's collections and they get handed down throughout the generations and whatnot. This is a 1912, and it's an AU 58 slabbed by ANACS, ANACS, American Numismatics Association Coin Service, I believe is what it stands for. Not in quite as good a shape as the 1927 MS62. However, I didn't have to pay up quite as much for this coin either. I was able to get it at a very fair price because the price of these $2.50 Indians has gone through the roof. I'm seeing them on Facebook and even at a couple of my local coin stores for $400, $425, up to $500, $525. And that's for coins like this that are haven't been slabbed yet, like this 26. And if you take a real good look at this coin right here, I believe it's going in to be graded. It's not going to be a super high grade, but even at a 62 or a 63, that makes that coin worth about $650. And that would be a nice little profit from where I first purchased it. I think I paid $325 for that coin. Maybe $350 tops. And this one here was really close to that $350 mark. The PCGS coin, the MS62, that one was $450. $435, somewhere right in there. But at an AU 58, which means, almost circulated, because the AU is it's a decent grade for this coin, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of detail left in it, but it was hard for them to get a good incuse design on these things because they're pushed into the gold. They're not a design that sits on top of the gold like the St. Gaudens or the $10 Indian. These designs are incused, which means pressed into the gold. And it makes it a little harder to get a crisp, clean line on your product. AU 58, I agree with that grade on this coin. 1912, $2.50 Indian. Those are just a couple things I've picked up within the last couple weeks at my local coin stores around my area. I haven't been to a couple, the one in Frankenmuth or the one in Flint, in about 3 weeks. So I'm going to be checking them out sometime during this week coming up. Maybe if I get a rain day from work or something. I'm not sure just yet, but Here's my Majestic Eagle. Only 1,000 of these were produced. I have one, and I know a brother of mine has one. So there are 998 of them left out there for you all to get your hands on, but just something I pulled out of the stack to give you a look at along with this gold. So what are your thoughts and opinions as far as pre-33 gold goes? Are you into it? Does it interest you at all? Or, are you just as happy with, a 10th, 2022, 2023, the new Eagle design that they have on the new gold? This is something I wanted to show you also. Look at this beautiful thing here. My brother-in-law got it for me, and what it is it's the eagle that's on the back of the Morgan silver dollar here. And he knows I like to have a hot toddy every now and then, so he found this at an estate sale for me. But yeah, it's the eagle on the back side of the Morgan silver dollar etched into a beautiful whiskey drinking glass. I thought that was just one of the coolest little items he could have gotten for me. Really appreciate that, Dougie. Thanks again. But anyhow, your opinions on the gold. What do you think? Are you just as happy with a 2023, 10th ounce, or are you interested in the pre-33 stuff with this numismatic value that it has attached to it, and little higher premiums? And from my experience buying and selling gold and silver, the gold, it almost seems that if you can get it at a decent enough price, you never have a problem selling it for a bit of a premium yourself. You get that premium back that you may have to put into it a couple times over. If I'm paying $50 for an ounce of silver over top of the spot price, that's a really good deal. And when I can get, $250, $300 out of that same coin, just for an example, I bought a slabbed 1908 no motto St. Gaudens. And I bought it, I would say 2 or 3 years ago, but I got it for $18.15. That was the exact price I paid for it. $815 for a slabbed 1908 no motto St. Gaudens. $18.15. I turned around and sold that coin for $2,200 maybe a year later. I paid almost the same price for a proof buffalo, which was around $1,800 and maybe $50. It was real close to the $18.15, same as I paid for the Gaudens. But I turned around and sold that for $2,300. You see, so especially with the gold game, don't become partial to the stuff, unless you're keeping it forever and you're going to hand it down and whatnot. But if you're buying gold and or silver to buy it and try to make a profit off of it, it might take you 6 months to a year. It might take you a couple of years. But as long as you don't become partial to it and want to hang on to it like it's something precious that you'll never get again, there are chances for you to make a pretty good profit on the stuff. I mean, you just have to be willing to sell it. And sometimes that's not as easy for some people as it is others. I became pretty attached to the pieces that I had, purchased originally when I first started, stacking and whatnot. But I thought to myself, you know what? There's not one coin in my stack that I had that I couldn't replace somewhere down the line. I'm like, why should I hang on to these coins when I can make a profit on them right now today and buy them back at another time later. I mean, precious metals always go up and down. You just have to catch them at the right point. And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy a lot of this silver that I have in my stack, when it was pre $17.50 an ounce and up to about $22 an ounce. So I put a lot of silver in the stack at those prices. I mean, I used to go to pawn shops and I'd be in there buying up all the silver they had, and the guy's like, what, you know something that I don't know? And I said, well, spot's at $17.50, you know that. You've got your silver listed in here for $22, which is $5 over, spot, which is a decent, a little decent profit for him. But for me, I couldn't stop buying it, at that price, because I know where this stuff's headed. And I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not trying to tell you what you should do with your money or your savings or whatever you may have going with your portfolio and whatnot. But as long as these prices are below $30, I stack as much as humanly possible, because it's my savings account. I'm not going to put $500 or $1,000 a week into a bank account that does nothing. I mean, in a year's time, you're looking at absolutely no return on that money at all. And if you don't believe me, take $1,000, stuff it into a bank somewhere. I don't care if they give you 2 or 3%, which you'd be lucky to find that. And after a year's time, it's not even enough for a candy bar. Okay? But if you take that $1,000 and buy yourself some gold or some silver or something that has a little value to it, you may be able to make money on that, just like I did with the gold. I made money on every single piece of gold that I bought and that I sold. That's my story. You know what I mean? Will your story be the same? Who's to tell? It only goes by what you're able to buy it for, and then find someone who's interested in buying it from you, at the price that you're willing to sell it to them. And that's at a profit for yourself. It's not very hard to understand, but you've got to have an ability to save. That's where it all begins. My wife and I talk about it all the time. She's like, oh, you're spending more money on gold. You're spending more money on silver. You know what? And I tell her, this right here, this stuff, that right there, that's money in the bank. That's what that is. All I've done is transformed paper garbage, which is losing value daily, into something with some value for the future. That's all. And that's a good way to think about it. So let me know what you think about that pre-33 gold. Have you got any in your stack? Are you stacking new gold? Are you stacking old gold? There's a lot of times I may have something for sale. Don't be afraid to ask, because I do a lot of flipping. So keep me in mind if you ever see anything in these videos that you may be interested in. You can shoot me a message. Let me know. I have no problem talking to people about things that they're interested in. I like comments. I like being able to talk back and forth with people and hear what they have to say and how their stacks are going. I'm interested in that stuff. That's why I do these videos. And if you like them, give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. And until next time, this is Central Michigan Stacker, and I'm out.